Welcome, friends. Today, we are doing another fragrance review. Outrageous. That is right, my friends. Once again, I am back with another fragrance review. The fragrance I am reviewing today is Ēbēne by Pierre Balmain, the vintage. This review will follow my tried and trusty technique of telling you the notes, telling you which notes I get, and then just discussing the fragrance until I have discussed the fragrance to my satisfaction. So, the notes are thyme, lemon, bergamot, artemisia, juniper berry, basil, mint, aldehydes, and caraway at the top. In the mid, you have rose, carnation, geranium, cinnamon, patchouli, pine, and jasmine. In the base, we have musk, leather, tonka, labdanum, patchouli, amber, and oak moss. The notes I get the most of are mint, artemisia, pine, geranium, oak moss, carnation. Well, as you may have guessed from that fragrance note listing, this is one of the complex vintage fragrances of yore. It was released in 1983, and I don't know who the perfumer is at all. That was back in the day when the identity of the perfumers was a closely guarded secret for some god unknown reason. Well, I mean, I think the designers wanted to give the impression that they were the ones making the perfumes, but not to worry. This fragrance opens up with a green, soapy, anisic mint. The aldehydes are a very big part of the opening, but they're soapy aldehydes. They're not like those solar notes or the aldehydes you get in stuff like, what's it called? The Frederick Malle one. Oh, I forget. Acne Studios. It's not like the aldehydes in that. It's not like the aldehydes in stuff like Shalimar. These are more very much distinctively soapy. You know, clean, shiny, that kind of thing. It gives contrast and a gleam to the mint artemisia aspect. The artemisia anise mint triumvirate is very, very, very good and very, very clever and very... What's the word I'm looking for? Complex. What it smells like is it smells like there's been like a cloudburst on some mint plants, right? And then the cloud has immediately disappeared and the sun has started shining on the beads of rain on the mint plant. And you can smell a little bit of spiciness from some artemisia anise thing, which give this kind of feeling of air, cool air blowing between the tops of the leaves and the soil where the plant is growing. Stemmy, but mint stems, not rose stems, not fucking any other kind of stems, mint stems of a mint plant, you know? That aspect of the fragrance kind of evolves. I'm trying not to use the word devolves because it doesn't become less complex. What happens is it changes, it morphs it morphs into a mid which is still green in nature, but a different green. A drier green, a classic kind of green fragrance. You're talking pine, carnation, geranium kind of holds the key between the top and the mid because you can get some kind of minty aspect, but the geranium becomes less distinctly minty and much more kind of rosy, and it provides like the pathway between the green mint Artemisia thing down into the more classic mid of those big 80s chypres, which was jasmine, rose, carnation, that kind of classic 80s mid. You've smelled it 1,000 times before. If you're into vintage perfumes, it's very clever, it's very classy, it's very well done. The aldehydes are coherent with the pine in that they are dry, soapy. It's pine needles, not necessarily pine tree, not like sap, but pine needles are very brittle and they're very dry and the colour of them, they're very stiff as well, I find, I get that aspect from it. That pine floral mid, you are left with kind of mellows into a clean oak moss leather dry down. The other notes in the fragrance there are simply to give roundness, fecundity, that's not a word I don't think, to the base and the mid. It becomes a very clean oak moss, clean green, smooth. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant fragrance. Again, if you've been watching the fragrance rotation, you'll know I just never wore it. So I've had to sell it to someone who will enjoy it, but it is a fabulous fragrance and considerably better than anything they put out in their new line. I hope you enjoyed this review, friends, and I will see you all again soon.